Hello everybody, thank you for joining this webinar. I'm very happy today here to present you for Dental System 2016, and I'll be presenting together with Sven Nunbo, my colleague here at the site. And for those of you that don't know me, I'm Rune Fisker, and I'm VP of Product Strategy and also responsible for the lab business unit here. All right, we will move straight forward. So just starting out with an update here on TreeShape. So 2015 was a very strong year for TreeShape. We grew with more than 150 new employees. So we are now a total of 670 employees in TreeShape. You see our headquarters here in Copenhagen. Many of you have been here. And we now just took over the last floor, and we now have the full building here in Copenhagen. At the same time, we are also in 14 locations now. So we have opened up in a couple of more countries during 2015. So we opened up in Brazil, our own office. We are opening up, just as we speak right now, our own office with a number of employees in Germany. And we are also opened up in Australia as well to service the Australian community. At the same time, we have been growing a lot in the different offices. So for instance, now we have 40 people in the US. Altogether. And again, all the companies outside the headquarters here in Copenhagen, our Polish production, our Ukraine development, all the remaining offices with a few people exception is basically sales and support, helping you to sell and helping to support you out in the country. And we expect this will keep growing also in 2016 coming here. Another pretty amazing number, in our opinion, is the number of developers. So we have continuous staffing on development side. So we are now on 275 developers, and also training and support is very close to our core principle. And we have now more than 100 people on training and support as training and support specialists. And again, we keep filing patents, so we have more than 80 patents active, almost all of them in dental CAD/CAM. Again, the developers is the core to create great product, and I think if you look at the competition here, I mean the competition have much fewer developers than us, and you could argue that they altogether have less developers than we have. I should say while we run the presentation, you are welcome to ask questions written. If the question is of broader interest, we will answer it verbally. Otherwise, we'll just write you back specifically to the person that answers. But feel free to ask questions in the prompt next to the presentation. All right. So moving forward, this presentation is mainly about the new software version and the new things we are going to launch present at Chicago. But just to give you a little bit an update. Also on the existing version, we of course released the 2015 version 15.5 in October, as most of you are familiar with. A lot of good improvements in that. We just end of January released the 2016 version, and there was a small patch to that. And it was not because there was so many radical new things in the last version of 2015, the 15.6. It was Windows 9 support. It was some different scanning support. That was actually a really good improvement. There was fast scan startup. There were a lot of more training videos. There was some design sharing. And I'm also really, really proud to tell you that the Smiley score was all-time high. So what is the Smiley score? Those of you working regularly with the software will know that a Smiley question pops up where you can evaluate your experience with the software. I think it's at every 15 case. And we have thousands of people clicking on the Smiley score every day. And the scores we are then measuring. And the 2050 version, especially the last couple of months, are all-time high in terms of Smiley score and customer happiness. That doesn't mean that there has not been issues with bugs, but compared to the previous years, Smiley score was all-time high. So this is a great news, I think, for those of you also working in support and just interested in customer experience. All right, so moving forward into the 2016 version, what we are now looking at is the new version, and this is what we are going to talk about mainly today. The new version, the different topics and the different themes and new features, of course, in that version. And the beta will be available in March, so that's just around the corner. And some of you have also been contacted about this and will work with the beta. And we expect a release in June 2016. We apologize for not being ready with the version before, respectively March and June. The main reason for this is that we have focused more than 50% of all development effort last year on improving the stability and reduce the number of bugs in the 2015, and this has effectively delayed our 2016 version a few months. But I think this was well time spent. Talking about the quality of the software and improving stability, we have a large number of initiatives. The first one is actually to improve, the fundamental quality of the software. This is improving architecture. So there has been there's been some of the architecture that has not been fully up to date, and we have spent a lot of time on now improving the architecture and the quality of the software and the code. At the same time, we are also focusing on increased automated tests, so the test becomes even better and much more automated and into much more details, which is a core tool to further improve the software. At the same time, we just have to realize that there are a broader span of how people are using it that we might have expected, and I even thought even half a year ago. And we are basically working closer with end users, with labs, and also going with a broader group of labs that we work really close with, where we nail all the different issues they have there. The last thing, which is you can say a management organization tool, is that of course 3Shape have become very big now with all the people we talked about. And one of the things we are really trying to do is motivate and put commitment and responsibility into the different team. So the team that develops a denture software is really committed and empowered to develop that software. And we believe that increased commitment and that motivation will also make them deliver much more stable and much better software. So we are definitely taking this very serious, and there is no doubt that goal number one for 2016, this is the quality of the software. And we are expecting and hoping that we will end the quality we invent in 2015 will be the same quality as we start with in 2016. Whereas the previous year there's been a too big dip when we started out in the new version, and it didn't catch up before later in the year. So I think there's a lot of good initiatives, and there's a true understanding in the development organization also to improve this. So we are excited about that. All right. Besides that, we are gonna now focus on more on the traditional features. We will touch on quality also going forward, but what we are going to show now here on the Chicago, and I believe all of you are aware that we have a Chicago end of the week here, and both Sven and I will leave tomorrow to go to Chicago. One of the new things we are going to present is the 2016 brochure, which you see some pictures of here. We will also share that with you later in the week here. And today we are basically going to go over the brochure and talk about, not over the brochure, but about our highlights in the brochure, and talk about what is new and what is coming of exciting new things. All right, before we go into the features, I just want to take a brief look at the 5 reasons to choose 3Shape. So one of the most important things is that we have such a strong development force, and we are really future-proof. You know that if you buy from us, we will also be there in 2 years and 5 years. We have really long-term sustainability of hardware and software. We will be able to repair the scanners, not just in 2 years, but in 4 years, in 5 years, in 7 years, where many of the smaller manufacturers might be gone or we don't know where they are. We have more indications and better tools in the software, so we still have the widest range of indications. We have more powerful tools in almost all steps according to our analysis. And we have a real, intuitive guiding interface and a manager where most of the competing softwares lack manager. We have integrated scanners with documented accuracy. So we have, complete scanner and software integration. Sven will in a little bit later show you some great examples on this. We have, of course, the integration with Trias, and we have, the documented accuracy. We'll get back to that. And we are in full compliance with FDA rules for the US, where many of the competing scanners, smaller manufacturers, are not in compliance with even the basic quality management rules from FDA. We have a global customer care. We have more than 100 people in customer care, where the majority is dedicated to the dental systems. We run webinars, packages. We have a lot of videos out there, which we'll talk a little bit about later. And we have, really strong ecosystems with more than 70 implant libraries and interfaces to virtually any machine in the market. All right, we are actually also doing one really major other thing. Another major thing for 3Shape is we are building a new platform, which we call Dental Desktop. That new platform will mean that our softwares are integrated much better. So all our dental solutions, all our dental software packages will be integrated in one platform. There will be an order manager. There will be scanning. You can either scan with a Trias or a lab scanner or an X1 in the future. There will be completely integrated, CAD design. You can design any module. So what do I mean with complete integrated? That means that the same workflow bar will travel through all the different steps here. So just like, Dental Designer today or the new Scanner Dental, the workflow bar will just be traveling through. You'll be able to move very forward between the different software packages and back again. And you can say one of the really new things is also that we will have an integrated version of our own CAM software. We will not make a CAM engine, but it will be a UI where we will be able to drive not just milling machines, but also 3D printers. So the majority of 3D printers today are actually driven by 3Shape software inside, like Bego, Rapid Shape, and others. And we have a full manager. So for that, a new UI, you see a new UI here. So we basically create the order, scan, design, put on the machine in one integrated, very fast and very easy and intuitive workflow in one system, one UI. Whatever modules you want to add, whether it's Implant Studio or other modules, you will just plug in, and it will be the same workflow, the same UI, the same everything. So it's so easy to adapt another workflow. This will not come before the end of this year, this new platform, or the start of the next year, depending on the exact timing. All right. Besides that, we of course still, for 2016 version, will have the manager. The basic look and feel will be the same as you are familiar with. One of the real things we have focused as a part of stability is also to do an easier upgrade wizard, so it will be easier and most importantly more stable to perform the upgrades. There's also an expanded training center where even more videos that you can work with. And there's a number of other improvements. Most importantly, there's improved third-party import of scans. So we have improved the third-party import of scans, even though third-party intraoral scans. Even though we love our Trias, of course, there will be many other, some other intraoral scanners out there in the market, and we have improved, PlanScan import, 3MR import, Carestream import recently, so it'll be much easier to work with third-party iOS scans. It's our clear strategy that the Trias and the lab systems should be independently competitive, but of course we'll still make great integration between Trias and third party. Another thing which we are very excited about is the digital patient, which we will believe is a part of our digital future. And why do we want a digital patient, and what is a digital patient? A digital patient is, not just having a gypsum scan, but it's really combining all the different ways we can capture images and capture information about the patient. So we have 3D color scans, 3D color impressions. We have face scans, that will be coming face scans. We have intraoral scans. We have patient videos, shape measurements, and patient images, and CBCT scans. And all this can be merged into one patient view, and we can work on that in combination for better treatments, for easier treatments, and for more predictable treatments. So this is one of the big trends we see going forward, is really combining the digital patient and integrating that into all parts of our CAD/CAM solution. Here we look at the scanners, and I'll be happy to hand the word over to Sven.
Yes, thank you, Rune. Yes, hello everyone. as Roland briefly mentioned, I'm Sven. I'm the product manager for Dental System, including the lab scanners here. And now that you have had a few minutes to look at the portfolio, you might realize that it's the same portfolio as we've had last year. And that's not a coincidence. That is because it is really a very, very powerful portfolio, spanning the range from the entry model here, the D500, all the way up to what I can proudly say is the best scanner in the market, the D2000. So these are the familiar scanners. However, there are some new things that I'll just briefly mention to you. So the D500 has been given. We managed actually to speed it up. So it's faster. It used to be, I think, 115 seconds for a full arch. Now it's 90 seconds. So it's faster. But another thing we also did is we have a campaign now where we actually will allow you to buy it with 5 years subscription included for a very attractive price. So the D500 I think is really a very attractive offer now for the labs that don't have super many cases and can live with the time and the accuracy of that. And then the portfolio progresses as it has, with faster scanning for the 700, faster or higher accuracy for the 850, even faster for the 900L. And with the D1000 and D2000, we go up to the multi-line scanning that I'll come back to in just a second, where we can do really fast scanning. And you'll also notice that we actually managed to push the full arch scan time all the way down to 20 seconds. So these are super fast scans. And what I'm talking about here when I'm saying full arch scan, it is actually the preparation scan that we can do in 20 seconds. It is very, very fast. And you can also see now that we added impression scanning for all of these, but I'll get a lot more back to that because I'll actually do a demo of that. Now, this slide is actually not new, but I will mention it for you anyway, because the all-in-one scanning is so important that I take every chance I get to talk about it. So what is it that we can with the D1000 and D2000? Well, and especially the D2000 here, because of the super fast multi-line scanning where you can scan fast, and you also have 4 cameras where the inner cameras can really look into deep cavities. You can actually scan the dies while they are on the model, so you don't need to take out the dies and scan them separately as you do with, well, pretty much all other scanners in the market, including our own. Furthermore, the bite, you don't have to scan that because we have 2 ways of not having to do the bite scan. We have the occlusion setup tool, where you can put models in occlusion before scanning them, and then the software will itself figure out where it is. Or you can use the virtual articulator and the occlusion transfer calibration object to do that. I have a slide about that a little bit later, so I'll come back to that. And furthermore, with the D2000, we have the ability to put both the upper and the lower model in at the same time, so you don't need an extra step for that. And that, ladies and gentlemen, as we also presented a year ago, that gives us the all-in-one scanning that you can do everything in one operation, and no other scanner in the world can do that. And I know that it's not new this year, but it's working, and we get great feedback from our users on it. There are some cases where you need to scan the individual dies, but you can do that just as easy, and we really get good feedback on it. At the same time, the new software that drives the new scanners, but also the old scanners, it keeps improving. One of the things that we launched with the 15.6 is that we can start the scanning almost instantaneously. And also we have a lot more scanning workflows and that we have given you. Another really two nice things with this is that you can scan in any order. So you just click in the workflow bar and scan the antagonist first, if that is what you prefer for one reason or the other. You can just swap freely between the steps. And also, while you're scanning one object, you can actually calculate on the previous object. So if I am scanning a preparation scan, it will take some time to generate the surface, but at that time you can actually scan the antagonist as well. So that also significantly speeds up. And please remember that this is not just for the new scanners, but also for the 700s, etc. that many of your customers out there have. So summing up, the D2000 is really a truly unique scanner. It can do the all-in-one scanning. It is super fast. It has real color, what we also call texture, so that you can see the colors and lines that you may have drawn on your model. Super high accuracy according to the ISO 12836 standard, so down to 5 microns. And every scanner is also certified according to or tested according to the ISO 13485 protocol. So really a good scanner. And please remember that if you buy a second scanner, so let's say you have a 700 and then you buy a D2000, then you get 2 years subscription for free. That doesn't just go for the D2000, but that is a general offer that we have, that if you buy a second scanner, you will get 2 years subscription. So that is really attractive. And for those of you who are resellers, please consider the current users and see what you can do for them, because we really believe that there is a massive opportunity to provide them with some even better tools, especially with the D2000. I mentioned this before, the getting the models into the virtual articulator. I mentioned it under skip byte scan, because what you can do is actually you have the model mounted in your articulator, then you put them on transfer plate that you have calibrated with what we call the occlusion transfer calibration object. You've calibrated that once, and then you simply scan it, and then you get the position of the lower in the virtual articulator, and you get the position of the upper in the virtual articulator, and then you have the relative position of them, obviously. So you actually skip, you don't need to do a byte scan, so you get the best of all worlds, really. You get the correct position in your articulator, and you also save a scanning step. Right. I mentioned this before, that we have scan accuracy up to 5 microns. We did a survey and asked, so what's the most important thing for you in your scanner? And there are 2 things, and I'm happy to say that we are on top of both of them. The 2 most important things is, not surprisingly, it's scan speed, but it's also accuracy. And we do have accuracy up to 5 microns according to a standard using these objects that we have measured on a multi-million dollar machine, so that we have a good reference.
Before we go on, Sven, there's a question: can we scan upper and lower RPD now in the D2000?
Yes, we can scan RPDs now.
And also the upper and lower at the same time?
I will have to get back on that one. I simply don't know.
Fair enough. We'll get back to you.
Yes. So the question, I don't know if everyone heard, whether we can scan upper and lower RPDs at the same time with the D2000, and we'll have to get back on that. Now, so we are not introducing any new scanners, but that doesn't mean that we are not introducing new scanner technology. We are introducing impression scanning, or you can even say that we are reintroducing impression scanning, where we can do a lot. And actually, I'm gonna go straight into a demonstration where I'll show that. As you may have noticed, here behind me, I have a D2000 scanner, so that you can see what I have. So what I have here is I have an interior triple tray. that I'll try to scan. So just bear with me. I'll go to, let's see. Good. So I'll make the order, which is normally. So this is an interior triple tray with where I'm going to make crowns on these two. So I simply select that it's an impression and that it's an interior triple tray. That's it. Nothing fancy in that. And then I'll start the scanning. And by the way, I hope you noticed how fast it popped up. And that is the change that I mentioned just before, which comes already in 15.6, that it starts really quickly. So now it's asking me to insert the triple tray in a fixture. I could also just put it on Blu-Tack if I wanted that, but now I'll put it on this fixture. But as I was mentioning, you actually don't have to buy this fixture. We recommend it, but it's really not something that you need to buy. Now, as with all scans, we do a preview scan first and allow you to give us a little more information about what it is you want to scan, and not least where it is you want the high detail area, because obviously we don't want to spend too much time and effort on putting too many points and too many triangles on areas that really doesn't matter. So it'll ask me to set a point on the margin line. I'll do that for both of them, and then as soon as I place the second one, it'll start the scanning. Now that's something which is special for the triple trays, because there, in order to do a good alignment, we actually scan the whole thing, so we don't need to do an extra selection. But if this had been a single tray, I would have been asked to select what to scan. And why is it that we want to scan everything on a single or on a triple tray? Well, that's because we actually use the side that we scan that both when we scan the preparation side and when we scan the antagonist side, so that we can do an automatic alignment. And I'll show you that in just a second. And what it's doing now, it's doing post-processing. It's going from the, as you can see, very many points into the surface. And why is it that we think that impression scanning now is something which is really worth investing in? Well, before I answer that question, I'll just show you that there was actually a small area here where it didn't scan fully because it was a little bit hard to reach. But I have this adaptive scanning where I can simply say, well, I want to fix the problems within the green area. So within that green area, it'll look for holes, and then it'll calculate automatically what angle should it move the model in, so that it can scan the case and do good coverage. And you can see now that little green points are coming, that it'll actually do give us those extra points, and with that, then it'll do the calculation again to make the surface. So this adaptive scanning, it's actually something that we patented many years ago, but we took it to a new level here, that will allow you to just select the area where you want the adaptive scanning to go on, so that we don't have to spend time on scanning too much. So now you can see that I have a good coverage of my scan. So the next thing I want to do, as always, I just click next, or I could also click directly on the step that I need to go to, which is the trimming. And there are two ways of trimming, and I'll use one here for the upper, then I'll use the other for the lower, so that you can see. And the reason why there are two is that, well, I honestly like them both, so it's hard to choose. So that was the trimming, and then now I need to scan the antagonist. And since this is a triple tray, I simply take the case out here and flip it over and place it like so, and in the scanner again. and I scan. Now, I was asking rhetorically, why is it that we believe in impression scanning now? Well, for one thing, you're all pretty much used to intraoral scans now. And why is that? Well, that's because the dentists like them, but there is also a big advantage of doing model-free crowns. We'll get a little bit back to that later in the presentation, but if you can do a model-free crown based on a digital impression on an intraoral scan, well, you can do the same on an impression scan. So you have the technology by handling impression scans or digital impressions. Now you can also do physical impression scans. So with that really gives you the option to speed up. And now you can see this is not all that easy, but it actually covered the scan really, really well. See, so now there's something there, but I don't care about that. And there was a little tiny thingy here. I'll actually, yeah, I can do adaptive scanning on it, and it'll. I'm quite sure. For the sake of time, maybe I shouldn't have done that, but I'll do it anyway. So model-free scanning is really something that is, or model-free crowns is something that enables this. And also now we have the technology with it. The D2000 can look into cavities, the 1000 can look deep into cavities, and also it's really fast, so that we can do the extra scanning. Yeah. Another thing that I promised myself that I'd mention to you with regards to scanning is that we can also do a lot of different workflows. So you saw in the order form where I selected selected that I could do triple trace. I can also do single trace. And one thing that's coming also is that we'll actually allow you to do a triple tray here in just one go. So we are making a new fixture where you can scan the triple tray. What I just did while I was talking here is that I used the other way of marking what I wanted to keep for the trimming here. And then there is an alignment step. It's always automatic because it simply scans from both sides, so it'll do the alignment, and that's actually it. I'm done with the impression scanning. So that's it, taking impression scanning to a whole new level, and we truly believe that now impression scanning is at a stage where it's really useful for you and your customers. So that was the demo of impression scanning. Any further questions for that?
Yes, is it available now?
This will be available with Dental System 2016, and if anyone is particularly interested, you can contact me, and then we'll enroll you in the beta phase of that. Okay, so that was impression scanning, and as you saw, I did adaptive scanning with that marking there. That was the demo, and I'll also say that actually there are some impression scannings regarding questions that are already used today. So that has been supported since, I believe, 15.5. So quite a few of them have been used. And I guess that's over to you, Rune.
Yes, so force forward. I mean, Søren and I have been working on impression scanning for quite some years, and especially some years ago, we looked a lot into it. And I must say, I'm seriously impressed about the level we can get now. I didn't expect that the combination of the D2000 and the multi-line technology combined with the new scanning application will give so great results. So I'm really impressed about it. Talking about another thing, which is obviously a clear part of the future, is intraoral scanners. And especially TRIOS. And we just completed a survey end of last year where 39% of all dentists are considering to invest or expect to invest in a digital impression solution within the next 3 years. And this is the 7 big markets worldwide. So this is an amazing number, and there's no doubt also when we look at the success of Trias was last year growing more than 80% in sales, and we are selling as many Trias scanners last year as we sold lab scanners. Then the intraoral scanners are really taking off now. And there's no doubt, we believe that Trias is the best scanner on the market today, and far more than a digital impression. It's fast and easy. It has real colors, it has shade measurements, it has intraoral cameras, and HD photo. And just lately, there were a number of studies published on accuracy as well, and Trias came out as number one here in this accuracy study here, and we completely beat both, almost all competition. This was one of the measures. This is the accuracy. There was also a repeatability, where we were also number one. And it's not just this study. There's 4 different studies from the second half of last year, where Trias all come out as number one. So really powerful. Also, I love this statement, quote from Nick Kolb: designing and working in the laboratory with a Trias scan is like actually working in the patient mouth. And you can actually see a design from him down here. I've actually been designing, and notice the 4 centrals are actually designed, and the rest is a beautiful Trias scan. So I think we all agree that the future is intraoral scanners, hopefully mainly Trias, and it is really giving us a complete different ability to work than compared to a classical gypsum scan. Also, there's in a couple of countries, there are actually labs, mainly small labs, that are actually buying intraoral scanners, Trias scanners, instead of a lab scanner, because it gives them more flexibility. So this is also an option, and especially with Dental Desktop coming in the future, it will be really easy to work with it. All right. Please recall also that when the Trias scan come into the lab software, into Dental Manager, then you can actually do a lot of things with the Trias scan. Most importantly, you can go and measure shades. So it's a continuing measuring shade if you open the preview. So yeah, so you don't have to stay with the shade measurement done from the dentist. Also, of course, we have optimized workflow for digital impressions, and keep working on these Trias scans and also for other scanners. One of the big trends is model-free crowns. So we see a number of countries where model-free crowns is really picking up. This was, for instance, a Danish lab that did more than 1,000 model-free crowns last year. So it's basically receiving Trias scans, designing them in 3Shape, and milling, I think, mainly in Emacs and full zirconia. And it's a tremendous efficient workflow. He managed to reduce the turnaround time to 2 days. He managed to bring down prices a lot and still be profitable. So this is really a great story. We also see Glidewell and others doing. I think Glidewell did thousands. I talked to them. I visited them a few weeks ago. So Glidewell, the biggest lab in the world, did thousands of model-free crowns last year. And when it comes to 3-unit bridges, there's actually less returns on a model-free crowns, which is quite surprising when you look at 3-unit bridges. So, but this is a part of the new big trends we see going model-free and saving cost and be competitive for other alternatives. Another thing talking about Trias is the communicate. So of course you can, when the dentist is scanning, you have communicate here, and you will have receive it in your inbox. Everybody has an inbox where you can receive the scans. And please also notice communicate is also a part of how we see the future, where more and more cases will live in the cloud. So for instance, an implant case, both the surgeon, the dentist, and your lab, or my lab, will be there. You can upload to the design services. We have the possibility to work with in your home, and of course apps and so on. And all this will be shared as a part of your subscription. You will have full access to this. There's actually quite a lot of cases now. Actually, approximately 20% of all cases are actually design sharing and design proposals. So you can see here, we recently talked to Albenti Lab in the US, who shared more than 1,000 cases the last year with over 3Shape Communicate to discuss the design with the dentist. So it's really a good way, to share the design and get a closer relationship to your dentist. There's also the app, as you might be familiar with, and we are just coming with a new Android app later this week for 3Shape Communicate for Chicago. So really nice to have the Android app. We have a broad range of indications here, and Sven will tell you more about that. Thank you.
Yes, I will not go through each and every one of the indications. I'll briefly tell you about what is new in Dental System 2016, because many of these you already know. One of the new things, as Rune mentioned, was that we did some restructuring. But what that also gave us is that also gave us some possibilities to do speed up of the core workflows. And I'm actually going to do a really quick demo here of this, and I'll just see if I can find my demo site. Here we go. So here, as you can see, I have a you can say fairly large case that I designed, and now maybe some of you have experienced what happens if you want to go and just check the margin line, and I'll just go and check the margin line. Okay, that's fine. And now I go on, I go forward again, and oh damn it, I have to recalculate everything. Well, no, you had to recalculate everything. Now what we do is simply we calculate when we need to. We don't calculate when you don't do changes. So we have a speed up in the core workflow, which is really tremendous. Another thing that I'll just that we also focused on is, in particular, this step here. That is, you can say, probably the most important step in the whole software. And you can see that I can really quickly just swap between teeth with my tools. And if I can instantly just jump between the teeth. So the core workflow has become more stable because of what we did, but it also became a lot more responsive. Another thing here in this step that I'll just also quickly show you here is that we also improved the speed of the morph tool. Now look how fast that I can morph this otherwise beautiful tooth, but you can see that I have a lot more power than I used to have. So I can show you a lot of new indications and everything, but also just want to let you know that the core workflow have been improved immensely. Also listening to what you want. Yeah. So that was a really quick demo of Dental Designer, and that's what's on this slide here. Another thing is that we can change order during design. So if you have a case where you realize that there's not room for the two layers that you initially thought, well then you can just change the order and say, well, I just want a single layer crown. Without having to redo your design, it will remember. So this change order during design is also a really powerful thing. I showed you the new fast and robust crown design engine. So that was part of the architectural restructuring that Rune mentioned in the beginning, where you can really do fast things. We also modified what we call the tooth selector, or the smile library selector that you see down here, so you can change what start libraries that you have. Yeah, conscious of time, I'll move on. And I did show you the demo, and the library that I used here was the Nandas library, but we also have quite a number of new libraries, anterior libraries from Genhaiso, and we have a new complete library from Liculp, which is also looking very nice. So obviously, libraries is the starting point of any good-looking case. So we realize that, and that's why we given you even more nice libraries to start your design. automation is really, really important. We realize that we want to make you really efficient, and we want to make it nice. So it shouldn't be a compromise between working fast and doing high aesthetics. So we are working a lot on automatic design that doesn't only go for the design, you can say on the occlusal surface, but also on the transition to the margin line. So that's one of the things that we are working on, and will, I'm sure, keep working on in the years to come. So copings and frameworks. One of them. So this particular case is actually a split bridge, where you can say that there is an insertion direction in for one half and another insertion for the other half here. So this is a split bridge where you can combine that. And this split bridge has also been done with a new tool where we call it facial cutback tool. I heard someone also call it 3/4 crowns, but that's I think a bad term, because that also is a way of prepping a tooth. But we call it facial cutback, where you can easily do crowns like the ones that we've seen here. You've always been able to do that, but we just made it a little bit easier. So, as I showed you with the speed tools and with the impression scanning and with the D2000, all it is what we are looking about. Well, we are looking about making you able to do many things, but also be productive on the things that you do a lot. So the whole, you can do easily, you can actually, I would even say easily do an anatomical coping in less than 5 minutes from start to finish. So that's also very much the focus of us, that we want the core workflow to be as good as possible, not neglecting the more advanced cases. Speaking of advanced cases, what we see here is the real view engine is being used more and more by our customers, so that you can put in a face, you can put in guidelines, you can use that in order to determine what the design should be. Another thing that we're coming with in Dental System 2016, which is related to this, is that you can put in some overlays where you have, well, just a cross, or you have golden proportion teeth that you can put in and use that to guide your design, or you could also have various custom overlays. Yeah. But as I was saying, we see more and more cases from our customers where this is really picking up in real life. This particular case is from Brazil, I believe. Positioning guides can be used for multiple things. One of the things is that it can be used for temporaries. One of the problems with temporaries is that, well, you can create a temporary, but by definition, you don't really know how the dentist is going to prepare. So if you do the temporary bridge in advance, you don't know exactly how the dentist is going to prepare. So he might put in your temporary, beautiful temporary, but in a wrong position. Now with the positioning guide, you can make sure that it's in the right position. So you can do that in one workflow, and you can also reuse the design for when you actually get either a digital impression of the preparation or the physical impression. So another way of making temporaries, which is actually not new, but I'm not sure that many people know about it, is that you can actually, based on your design, you can produce a model, and then you can do a silicon mold or a matrix on top of that, and use that in order to do a traditional temporary, where you just inject temporary material in the silicon mold. So that's also becoming increasingly popular. There has been a few stability issues that we have fixed in this area here. Right. So the virtual articulator is really strong. One of the things that we have changed here is the ability to raise the bite easier. We've spent a lot of time on it. We also added 2 new virtual articulators, the BioArt A7 Plus and the Shofu. Yeah. Another thing coming is the ability to produce what is called a reduction coping. So you can see this prep here is a little bit too large, but I made this design here so that you can guide the dentist in how he should prepare this tooth further, and then make the crown right away so that you can give him a reduction coping and a crown that will fit on the reduced die in one workflow. That's not coming in the very first version of the Dental System 2016, but it is coming. Tabletops is something that we worked on. We introduced it last year. We have stabilized it and made it even better so that you can use that to raise the bite. You can also use it to make non-preparation veneers, by the way. And speaking of veneers, yeah, you can use the tabletop workflow really to do non-preparation veneers, where you put in the crowns or the designs where you want them to be, and then you'll automatically find where the margin line or connection line should be. Post and course. One thing I will mention in this respect here is that with the new impression scanning that I just showed you, then post and core is becoming even more relevant. And obviously there are differences in different markets how much this is being used. This is a real case with 2 multi-posts that I got from a customer. Abutments keeps being relevant. We will include the bone information, and Rune is pushing me on in order to get through all the topics here. Positioning guides that I mentioned before are also relevant for abutments and are working really nice. We get really good feedback on that. Yeah. So really, as Rune also mentioned before, one of the strong things about 3Shape is the ability to really integrate with anyone. And we have more than 70 implant libraries, which, as you know, and more are coming all the time. Regarding abutments, one thing that is maybe a little bit of a secret, but that has been there for some time, is the ability to combine implant libraries from different providers, so that you could have one scan flag from one provider, but the titanium base from another provider. I'll not go into detail on how it works, but it is really, really powerful, so that the customers don't have to have an enormous amount of scan flags depending on what they're doing. They obviously need one per implant type. Right, and I think
Yeah, so one of the real hot topics, especially in the US, but also as you can see here in Spain, is the full zirconia bridges. Originally, invented by Circonsan and Enrico Sticker, but now we see a lot of people doing them in 3Shape as well. And I actually believe if you do a competitive comparison to Circonsan's software, then we actually have a stronger tools for actually designing it. And there's both a new powerful gingiva tool, and there's an optimized Smile Composer, which is much better, much more stable, working on big cases. So there's really some good improvements on this full zirconia bridges. Also along the same discussion, we have the ability now to scan a denture and reuse that denture directly as for the implant bridge, either as a cutback or without cutting it back, depending on what you want to do. So a real great new workflow coming with 2016. And again, remember when it says 2016, it means, when it says new, it means we are going for 2016. Coming is 2017. Another nice indication that has been requested for a while is the ability to support multi-unit abutment, enabling us not just to have a multi-unit abutment into the system, but also to be able to rotate it during the design, so you can use the correct angle. Also high demand for many years is the ability to do secondary structures on the bars, and we have a great new workflow for that include the RPD software, so you can design a secondary structure directly on top of your bar. a long-standing request, and I believe we're the first one to be able to do that. Sorry, moving forward, Implant Studio is also a great progress, and Implant Studio is really picking up in a lot of markets now, because now we have, more libraries, we have easier, we have a better partner set up with a lot of partners that can actually support, sleeves, that can support the printing and so on. And we just released recently the ability to make edentulous treatments. So a lot of good progress, and of course in the combination with much cheaper and much more available printers, this is really moving forward, as you of course can get your guides out locally, and you can either mill them or I think really believe in printing them. And you also see a full edentulous guide here with anchor pins and everything. And again, if you buy one of the good inexpensive printers, you can print, including the preparation on the machine, you can print for below 10 euros/dollars. So really cheap compared to the cost that are in the market today. When you have planned your case, you can also directly design the abutments and screw retain crowns, either temporary or for final loading. Another thing where is happening a lot is really on the digital denture. And we really see now people start to make real clinical cases on a daily basis. And as you can see, there's a tremendous amount of new functionality here. We see there's optimized scanning. We can scan digital models impressions, or we will be able to soon rescan the try-in. We have much more libraries now, or more libraries. We're working closely with a number of suppliers to put in the library. There's the possibility for libraries to have a combination chart. There's improved occlusal setup tools, so it's easier to set up the occlusal and the whole occlusal design. There's the gingivator, so improved gingiva design tools, and there's a lot of improved production facilities. Along that, along dentures, there's also the possibility to make custom trays. We actually see, especially in Holland, people are printing more than 100 trays a day. And I really believe with the access to cheap printers and cheap materials, that this is really gonna take further off. There's a new functionality here now where you can automatically make holes fast and easy without placing attachment for each hole you want to do. You just click holes and you get holes in your tray. Getting back to the denture options, we have spent a lot of the time on the denture development on actually generating, optimizing the output. So there's an optimized output now where you can print a combined model where you injection mold the teeth or make a silicone impression or silicone form copy, and then put in the teeth and inject the material. Or you can look to produce teeth or the base independently. We believe very much the teeth will be either most likely short-term the standard teeth or custom milled, and the base will be short-term be printed, milled, or a little bit looking forward in the future it'll be printed. I can see our time, we're going to go a few minutes over, so please excuse us for that. Another thing that has also been really done some great improvements is on the RPD. There's been since the day we launched the software, there's been a demand for actually putting in the virtual teeth, so you can actually put in the virtual teeth to the guide your design. So you can do that now, and you can, if you want to, you can convert those virtual teeth into metal dummies, so that full teeth, or you can reduce them with cutback, as you see here, where there's made room for the veneering ceramic. Also, there's improved design settings and improved, so you can choose materials depending on what settings you want, as well as improved connector types on the design. So a lot of improvements going on here and really working well integrated inside the solution with the scanner and everything. All right, getting a little bit into our Cambridge software. We have completely rewritten that, so we are now having a new UI here. You just it automatically populates all these all the items out here. You basically drop and drag them into the disk, completely interactive, and you will, when we come with Dental Desktop, be able to do that directly as a part of the workflow process, or just inside the manager. So, and again, as soon as it's placed, it will get updated the status on the manager, and and there's a lot of powerful tools for automatic nesting. Make sure the items always go on the right job because we are in control of materials and colors and etc. And there's a really flexible ability to choose any CAM engine, any third-party CAM software you will work with. One of the things you have spent most time on the Cambridge team is actually to do interface with printers. So as we all know, printers are coming full-time, and I think this year and next year will be the printer year of CAD/CAM, and we have a full integration tool automatically. I believe we are the only one that has have optimized the support generation really to for dental, so it don't place the supports in the dangerous places. And we have full automatic nesting and everything. And for some of the printers, we'll be able to automatically start them with a single click, like the Bego and Rapid Shape printers. Another application along this, which we have implemented based on many requests, is the possibility to create a pressing or casting tree. So as soon as you finish designing, you automatically you can drag them into the tree and print a small wax tree, saving a lot of time on this particular step. All right, so if we look at LabCare, this is what you get for your subscription. There's actually a lot of new and more value going into training and events. So we have a lot of now not just trainings but also events where people can join. Like in Chicago next week, we will both has a lot of training events going on, and we will also have bar events where customers can come and network. We have the global support across the whole world with more than 100 support and training specialists. We of course have the upgrades, and I think you should not underestimate the importance of the upgrade because that really reduces the support and give you the ability to people to run with the latest technology. And there's a new topic here called special discount. So as you see, we are focusing more on the existing customers, giving them discounts, for instance, on the additional software. But of course, it's important you as a reseller also are able to explain the reasons why we and especially the value for the subscription, and you can read more details in the actual brochure. Here's one of the top value things I believe you see is that we have training videos. So we have made more than 50 training videos. There are more videos launched in January telling about a lot of the new functionality, how to use it, and of course also some of the existing functionalities introduced for the existing user. But I still think there are too many labs out there that think they know how to get most out of it, but there's so many more secrets as you can see in the system, and so many more opportunities where you can get the video going. To access the video, you can either go directly to the web page, or you can click Training Center in your Dental Manager, and will open up the video page as you saw before by clicking on videos. There's also all the YouTube videos as well, which are more introduction videos and less training videos. All right, so this is all just a few of the highlights. You saw more highlights during our presentation, but I think we can look really forward to a stable, a reliable version, but still with a lot of good functionality. And just have to say, get ready for Dental System 2016, and thank you very much for joining here.
Thank you.
Thank you, bye-bye. And there's no additional questions?
No additional questions, no.
All right, perfect, gentlemen. Hope to see you in Chicago or around the world. And also, there are trainings coming up for 2016, so please also join the trainings provided by 3Shape Academy in our different locations worldwide. Thank you very much.